question.
Important questions. Did you get a haircut? Yeah, I cut my hair. Hopefully it looks okay. So let's talk again about the O sounds here. So again, we have a diphthong. In the way this is traditionally taught is again doing like where again your mouth starts wide and then it closes with small round lips like and that's fine. You can certainly pronounce an O sound that way, but I think a more common way to actually going to be hear it pronounced is more Notice my lips. I don't have to go like hardcore around lips to get the O sound, right? I don't have to do O. And there's nothing wrong if you do. Okay, you can certainly make that sound doing O. You can. But what I would caution is that if you do make it with smaller, rounder lips at the end, then you want to make sure that your placement stays low and open. Oh. You do not want it to sound like oh. I think what a lot of students find is that once you start kind of tensing your lips or closing them off or making them really round, what a lot of students are doing is that they're also closing off the throat because they're focusing so much on the lips, they're forgetting about the placement. But remember, the placement is going to be a little lower, a little bit more open. Okay, so again, it's not oh, it's going to be more oh. We see this in the word like wrote. So for instance, wrote. I would do a progression like that and make sure that your vowel sound doesn't change. So again, wrote. You also see this in the word those. 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 So I would practice those words there. Who wrote all those? So wrote all. Wrote ending on that T sound, but notice that T is surrounded by vowels, right? We have the O before it, we have the aw sound after it. So that T will become more like a fast D flap T type sound. So instead of wrote all, often becomes more wrote all. Okay. We do have a comment here about stress. Sabeda's trying to cheat. She wants her audio file to sound perfect. Can't blame her for that. So if we were saying this sentence, what words would we stress? Great question. So who wrote all those awful novels? I think you'd get away with two stresses here. I would probably put a stress on wrote all those awful novels. And then a stress on novels. It's like, who wrote all those awful novels? But let's take a look at our second one. Now again, we're taking a look at the S sound versus the A sound. This is a word like, for instance, like head versus had. This again, okay. His best man can attend the wedding. Okay. In terms of stresses, I would probably stress man, and I would also stress wedding. Can't attend the wedding. Let's talk a little bit more about those sounds since they're so prevalent here. It's like Really pay attention to my lips here. Right? So back, middle, front of your tongue, everything is elevated. Okay, raise everything a little bit, kind of like in the middle of your mouth, middle high position. Notice that my lips are relatively straight, like try to get your lips a little straighter. The last thing, again, of course, placement is going to be low and open, mouth relatively closed. What you don't want this to turn into is like You also don't want this to become Can you hear the difference between the difference between and We want that first one, okay? Best. You want to be careful with best because that B sound really makes you want to like pop your mouth open, right? Best. But if you do that, best, now what's happening is you're kind of getting to and we don't want to sound like ba. We want to sound like ba. So my big suggestion for you is that after that B sound, don't pop too wide. Keep it more closed. Best. Okay. We also see this, for instance, on the word wedding. Okay. It's like wedding. I would do that progression. Wedding. And make sure again that things are staying pretty close. Okay. This is the W sound, very similar to the B sound, causes a lot of students to open their mouth really wide. Because like wedding. And if you find yourself saying that, try to again get it more like wedding. wedding. So again, why, where. Other things here, pronunciation-wise, that can be a little bit tricky. His. So again, short I sounds like eh. Very back of your tongue down, middle of your tongue a little bit high, front of your tongue down, sides of your tongue touching your top teeth. Eh, hi, his. Okay. Another thing too is that a lot of times his, or a lot of your pronouns that start with the letter H, a lot of times those H's tend to disappear. So instead of saying like his, you may even just hear is, his best man, his best man, his best man. Okay, so a lot of times it can even just become like a Z sound. Maybe not as common at the start of a sentence, but in the middle of a sentence, like I gave it to his friend, I gave it to his friend. If I say to his, I'm not saying to his, I'm usually saying more like to his. So it just becomes like is. But for these sentences, I want to take a listen to some native speakers saying this. So let's listen to my mom. Give you guys some models.
Who wrote all those awful novels?
My mom didn't like my comments from the last time because I said that she sounded like she was reading. So now she's going with the drama. I like that. And our second sentence.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
I will say notice that when she says can't attend, she's actually pronouncing that T a little bit.
His best man can't attend.
Dude, that can't attend. So it's not a big deal. You know, if you don't want to do the held sound because that makes you nervous, it's okay. You can still pronounce it with a T and still sound pretty natural. You know what I would say with placement again, if you experiment. Just try to copy the sound. Don't focus too much on where you think that your mind thinks that the sound should be and things like that. Focus on just trying to copy the sound. Imagine you're an actor trying to imitate me or trying to take me as a role. Okay, I'm a character that you need to take on. With the vibration, if you ever feel, again, like it's a strain, it shouldn't feel like it's taking effort. So if it ever feels that way, that's a sign that maybe we're focusing a little bit too hard. So try to just, open things up, relax more. Some other general tips, again, body position, posture has a big impact on sound. So make sure you're not like tensing up as you're talking. Keep your shoulders down, keep your chest out a little bit. Okay, good posture, because that's going to help kind of keep things lower in a natural way. You can play around with your placement. Again, like with an sound, you can move it. Like for instance, let's start forward and then try to send it down like I can even do it consistently like Just kind of get in the feel of, what it feels like when you project from different positions in your body.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
I think our big comment here is going to be, the big comment is going to be about your ass sounds, because I think your ass sounds are a little bit tense here.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
Yeah, because I think it's for man, and I think it's on for can't. So I feel like I'm hearing man can't versus man can't. His best man can't.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
Who wrote all those awful novels?
It sounds a little flat. I don't think it sounds wrong. I think it sounds good. I think it just sounds flat. Everything's kind of like staying around, I'd say like maybe 2 or 3 pitch levels.
Who wrote all those awful novels?
All those awful novels. It's like right now, awful novels is kind of about equal. Awful novels.
Who wrote all those awful novels?
Awful novels. But I would exaggerate that. Who wrote all those awful novels?
Who wrote all those awful?
Who wrote all those? Who wrote all those? I think you could stress who. I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But if you want to stress who wrote all those? I would raise the pitch a little higher. And I'll just make sure there's a bigger differentiation between who and wrote. And then you're just going to, from who, it's just going to keep dropping. Who wrote all of those? That's friend, great to see you. Okay. Emphasize can't because of the T or mispronounce as can't. Yeah. That's a great comment. So a lot of students are very afraid of how to say can't. And I get it. It's scary because if you can't do something, you want to make sure that your listener knows that so they don't think that you can do something, because that's a very different meaning, right? I think if you pronounce the T sounds, I certainly understand, but I would really encourage you. I do think it's something worth practicing, because when you listen to people talk, you're not going to hear those T sounds. I'll be honest with you. You're just not going to hear native speakers pronouncing T's. It's just not very common. So I think this is definitely a place where practicing held T sounds is going to give you a much more natural sound. Okay. Practice them on your own, and then as you get more comfortable, you can apply it in conversations. But some things you want to be paying attention to if you're trying to say can't, you're doing two things. The first thing, you're tensing your throat to not allow air through. So instead of saying can't, where my throat stays open so I can get that t, I'm going to close it off. Can't. So again, can't. One other thing that you want to pay attention to, so it's not just about the T, it's also about what you do to the vowel sound. So when you say can't, when you hold it, can't. Compare can't. Same word. When I'm doing can't, when I'm holding it, I'm also shortening my vowel sound. I'm making it faster because what that's going to do is it's going to also help indicate to my listener that I'm using a held sound. When you have a held T, you want to shorten your vowel. Okay. So again, can't. I think you'll hear both. Honestly, I think you'll hear both in terms of people's speech. So it kind of depends. Are you more of a prescriptive grammar or a descriptive grammar? Prescriptive grammar would probably say you want to say copying and pasting, but more descriptive grammar would say copy and pasting in terms of common usage. We can even kind of check this and see. So let's say that you have a phrase and you want to make sure you're using it right. Okay. As long as you're in a country that doesn't have like a firewall or anything blocking Google. Google is like the best language learning tool. It lets you do so much. So let's kind of compare. Copy and pasting. Let's just kind of see. Copy and pasting. So what we really want to pay attention to is you want to pay attention to the results. So notice here I'm getting like 1,230,000 results. That's a lot of results for copy and pasting. Notice too that I put it in quotation marks because that's going to tell Google that I want to find this exact phrase. Okay. The other thing I would suggest is take a look at don't look at like the first page because sometimes it's going to be like dictionary entries or like things that you're not quite as interested in. We want to find actual usage. So we want to start going to the later pages, like page 8, page 12, things like that. Okay. Attitudes towards copying and pasting. So I'm still seeing it and these are actual sentences. But let's compare it. Okay. So again, we see copy and pasting, 1,230,000 results. Let's try copying and pasting. A little bit more results, right? And other people are asking the same question. Copying and pasting, 5,830,000 results, like almost 5 times as common. Frequent. Let's again just see. Copying and pasting, yeah. So what I would say is that in terms of frequency, this does not tell you right and wrong. This tells you frequency. What's common, what's not common. Okay, so just kind of something to keep in mind. We're talking frequency here. So what I'm seeing with this is that copying and pasting grammatically seems to be a little bit more frequent. However, 1 million results is a lot of results for, even for a quote unquote like non-standard form. That's a lot of results. So if you say copy and pasting, in speech and things like that, I don't think you'll run into issues.
His best man can't attend a wedding.
Okay, so we've already talked about can a lot. We talked about, hey, very often held. So instead of can't attend, more can attend.
His best man.
Do you hear that? His best man. I think a lot of times this looks like a compound noun. Again, a compound noun is a situation where you have 2 words, but they kind of join together to make one specific thing. It's a compound noun, and you show that in English by putting the stress on the first word. So, for instance, like cell phone, math class, things like that. These are compound nouns. Doctor's office. 2 words, but they join together and make one specific thing. Best man looks like a compound noun. It's a specific role in a wedding, if you're not familiar with that. But I think you're actually more likely here to stress on man.
His best man can attend the wedding.
right? So another thing too is that you're like, take the phrase. Let's use a different phrase, like I can go versus I can't go. When you say I can go, can is usually a word that's not stressed. I can go. I can go. Stress on go. Versus if you say I can't go. Sorry, I can't go. I can't go. What you can do, oh god. What you can do is put the stress on can't. And that again emphasizes the negatives. Like I'm sorry, I can't go. I'm sorry, I can't go. You could also stress go to, but it can be helpful for negatives to stress can't. Usually for positives or affirmations, you wouldn't stress the modal verb. I can go. I can't go. So just another way that you can make your negatives, if you're worried about your held T and you're worried about people understanding you. We talked about a couple techniques. We talked about doing the held T, tightening the throat to not release the breath. We talked about shortening the vowel sound before the held T sound. It's like can't versus can, that positive one more open. We talked about adding some words to provide context. So again, you could add like sorry beforehand, like, oh, sorry, I can't go.
Who wrote all those awful novels?
So if you put the stress on all, I'm a little bit conflicted because all is a word that very commonly does get stressed. So I appreciate that aspect of it. But I think in this context, you're not actually going to get the stress on all. I'll be honest. I think you're more likely to get the stress on either two stresses, wrote novels, or just novels by itself. So I do like your build up in terms of pitch. Who wrote all those? Who wrote all those? So, in terms of that progression, I do like it. I think that can sound pretty natural. But I just think that all is probably not going to be your stress word. I do also like how you're linking all to those.
Wrote all those awful.
All those. All those. It's not very strong TH, which is good. You don't want it to be like all those, it's just a little bit too heavy. Right, all those. This is again a situation where when you're saying those, you can actually keep the tip of your tongue down. Try to say all those with the tip of your tongue pressed against your bottom front tooth down here. Like all those. Okay. You can also have it higher, don't get me wrong, but I think just for the sake of linking and speed and pace, just experiment. Try to get it a little bit lower. See how that sounds.
Who wrote all?
Wrote all those. Do you hear that fast D sound? So again, wrote, that T. T is surrounded by vowels, right? You have that O sound before it. You have that aw sound after it. So when this happens, you have a vowel sound plus a T plus another vowel sound. This is again a situation where you'll get that fast D flap T sound. It's like wrote all. Okay, so that's going to sound much more natural than wrote all.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
His best man can't attend the wedding. So you're stressing man and also can't. His best man can't attend the wedding. So I don't disagree with the stresses. I think these are certainly possible. You could stress man and you could stress can't. And you could stress both. His best man can't attend the wedding. So the other thing I want you to kind of think about on a sentence level, like I think on a thought group level this is fine, but I think on a sentence level, usually when you hear people talk in English, there's going to be one word in a sentence that gets the dominant stress. And right now, when I hear this, I think your stressed words are about equal in terms of weight. And to make it even a little bit worse, they're right next to each other, so they kind of just blend in a little bit.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
My recommendation would be pick one and take the pitch even a little bit higher. You do have different intonation patterns for them. It's like man can't. It's like you do have opposite intonation patterns, which I think is good. But I would say just take the pitch a little bit higher for one of them. His best man can attend the wedding.
Question.
You say cannot attend. How often do you say cannot as compared to like saying can't? So again, when you have T sounds that link with a Y sound, like a U, can't you? Very common. When you have a T followed by U, it's very typically going to have a ch type sound. See, it's like can't you. See, it's like virtue or like aren't you. In those situations, yeah, using those chu sounds, supernatural sound.
And who wrote all those awful novels? I tell you what, she's fired. She doesn't deserve to be American. We don't need people like her. I tell you what, she's getting deported.
I thought the parts here that sounded particularly so, I think trying to sound like Donald Trump.
And who wrote all those awful novels?
I like especially how you said awful novels. I think it sounded a lot like Donald.
I tell you what, she's fired.
Like how you did the fired part. A good line, classic line from Donald, right? To get right. I think you did a great job there.
She doesn't deserve to be American. We don't need people like her.
I think that we don't need people like, especially that part. The her sounded a little bit off.
I tell you what, she's getting deported.
Yeah. Anyways, what are some quick things that we can mention about this one?
And who wrote all those awful novels?
I want you to pay attention to awful there.
Those awful novels.
Awful. Notice that again, you're using more of an ah sound. Awful, awful, awful versus awful, awful. So again, personally, I would say aw, okay, just based on my own regional accent. But you will also hear lots of native speakers that pronounce it more like ah.
I tell you what, she's fired.
Fired. Notice that, fired. And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but typically when you hear, especially in American English, typically when people say fire, it's in this weird like 1 syllable, 2 syllable territory. Whereas in this file, one thing you'll notice, there's a very clear distinction. It's 2 syllables, right? Fired, fired,
fired,
fired. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with doing that. It just makes it sound more emphatic. Okay, you drag it out. You're adding a lot of emphasis there.
We don't need people like her.
I would have gone a little bit lower on the pitch there. And say like her, like her. We don't need people like her.
His best man can't attend the wedding.
Man can't. I think my biggest suggestion here is going to be placement. Right now, things are sounding very closed off. And they sound a little high. I feel like we're kind of trapped like around here. Like versus try to see if you get a little lower and a little bit more open. Okay, to try to give you some more concrete examples of that.
His best.
Like he best versus his best. Can you hear a difference between again? His best man. His best man versus his best man. Okay, just trying to get more air through your throat. I get a little bit confused here.
You can't attend the wedding.
Attend the wedding. I'm getting a little bit confused on the attend the wedding. Attend the wedding. Okay. So I would pay attention to that word, especially attend. Attend. Just try to say that like 3 times. I'll say like attend, attend, attend. Attend, attend, attend. As you do that, try to say it fast because we want to really add some emphasis to the vowel sounds and try to weaken the consonant sounds around it. It's like attend, attend, attend. Attend, attend, attend. It's like Those are your vowel sounds you're going for. So in addition to the vowel sounds, watch out for your T's. This is actually a case because that T is actually stressed, attend. Attend is the start of your stressed syllable. So that T sound is going to stay a T. It's going to actually stay t. You know, it's not at end. It's attend. Attend. Okay, so just watch out for that.
And guess what? This best man can't even attend the wedding. Come on, man.
I think it is the singer. So, man, I think he's using some like voice modification stuff. That "come on, man" at the end. I mean, that's totally the singer. It's totally the singer. Singer, can you do like a singing Joe Biden? Is that possible?
Come on, man.
Is it man? Do you hear that? Man versus man. Come on, man. Come on, man. You can say man. So again, we've seen so many times today. For that ass sounding with the N, just try not to get it so tense. More breath, a little lower. Man, come on, man.